Welcome to Skill Based. In this mini-series we'll be delving into various ticket redemption games that I've found in local amusements and arcades that don't rely solely on luck, they don't have ridiculous requirements to win, and they're not completely rigged.
A skill-based game, this is not.
Let's begin with our first skill-based redemption game. This is Space Invaders Frenzy. Having made its way into the amusements in roughly 2016, Space Invaders Frenzy is a dazzling and crazy fixed shooter with one of the largest screens in over 100 inches in length.
Space Invaders.
The aim of the game is simple. Grab yourself a turret and move it around to move your reticle on screen. Mow down all of the invaders you see on screen in the attempts to get as high a score as possible. Use bombs, which appear as circles with the letter B, as well as missiles or disc blasters to decimate entire formations. The game is over when as much as one alien hits the bottom. If you hit the score indicated by the criteria on top of the screen, you win the ticket jackpot. So, how do we get this jackpot? Well, before I explain, I think it would be better to show you a demonstration, and then we'll break everything down. Stellar, we just got ourselves a jackpot. Okay, so here's how it goes. Before I delve into the strategy, the first thing you want to pay attention to is the criteria that's on the top of the screen when you begin the game. I'll give you a general guideline in terms of likelihood. 22,000 to 30,000, you're in good hands. This is easy enough to get. 31 to 39,000 I'd say is probably like medium difficulty. And as we go up to the 40,000s, it's still doable as long as you know what you're doing. 50,000s is where it gets challenging. It usually goes to around about 58,000, which is very unlikely to get, and 60,000 or more, unless you're an absolute pro, forget about it. The criteria will vary from venue to venue, so if you see any amusements where the goal is ridiculously high and you see this plastered on the scoreboard, I apologize. You'll spot the UFOs popping in occasionally along with an audio cue to let you know they're on screen. Shoot them down for bonus points, which vary from a measly 500 to a solid 2,500. They'll stop for a moment before zooming over to another part of the board, so shoot them as soon as you can while you don't have invaders threatening the bottom of the screen. Partway through the beginning, the game randomly gives you one of two power-ups per game. The disc blaster shoots, well, discs from the bottom of the screen upwards, which can plow through and leave gaping holes through a group of baddies, and then you have the missiles, which work a lot like the bombs but with a smaller blast radius, and you can shoot multiple of them in one brief period of time. These power-ups can be a double-edged sword, however, as they can score you a lot of points, but if you use them recklessly, you can bump into and waste precious bombs. On the other hand, if used with the bombs and timed just right, they can score you a ton of points. If you don't shoot the power-up while it's on the screen for a period of time, it disappears for the rest of the game. This is probably the most important step, as recognizing how enemies maneuver can give you the upper hand. The more you play this game, the more you'll realize the first several waves of enemies tend to be the same. Small wave, giant invader that splits into smaller enemies, etc. Eventually things start getting crazy and more of them start popping in at once. One of the first few waves you should look out for near the beginning is the wave in the shape of a giant squid. Aim for the parts that make the lower limbs first, because if you go for the main body, the enemies below will make a break for the bottom. You'll also want to look out for linear red groups. They're fast and they make quick progress if they're not taken care of properly. If you aim for the middle, they'll descend much quicker, requiring less time to go from one side to the next. Taking it out from the side, however, means they require more time to cross one side of the screen to the next, and it eliminates the threat a lot more smoothly. You'll more than likely come across the one stray red ship zooming from side to side, so track it down and don't let go of the fire button.
Use bombs wisely!
Not long after the game begins, a bomb will appear from the side of the screen and float around like an old DVD screensaver until you shoot it down. Once shot, it unleashes a giant blast, destroying everything that touches it. A total of 3 bombs will appear every game and they can give you a huge advantage. I recommend using them when there are loads of enemies to accumulate points, or for emergencies when things start to get a bit unruly. It can be difficult reserving them as you'll have to shoot around them while protecting your cannons. That's right, 2 players can both win the jackpot in one game. However, it won't be a matter of both scores totaling the goal, they both need to reach the criteria individually. I'll let the footage speak for itself. Ideally, the criteria should be between the 20,000 to the 30,000 area for this to pull off. Anything higher and chances are you'll only be able to succeed with one gun or none. Sometimes you can try and reach the much higher jackpots by prioritizing one gun and using the other to fend off individual foes trying to get away. So, to conclude, Space Invaders is probably one of the best machines to win tickets from. Its difficulty varies depending on the criteria, but the lower the points needed, the easier it is to achieve the jackpot. Each playthrough is nice and brief, but for most machines you'll be waiting about 5 minutes to play the next game, as it can take its time giving you your tickets. Sometimes you'll get jackpots frequently and in abundance. Other times you'll get jackpots just the once, and then the criteria maximizes to around about 60,000 or more. The frequency in terms of how many you win will vary from place to place as of making this video. The amount will also vary from 500, 750 or 1,000 tickets depending on where you go. Space Invaders Frenzy is in several places across the country from what I've seen so far. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same is said for establishments in America. And if it's like the venues I've been to where I've won several times, they'll catch on and set the criteria up to the maximum near permanently after winning 16 Nintendo Switches and a PS5. Thank you very much.